Thank you for that, Michael. And now I'm joined by both Luke and Razor to discuss the vicious end to the Syrian civil war. Luke, what's the latest?
So there has been local reports that the Assad regime is tightening its grip around eastern Ghouta. And basically what happened is eastern Ghouta is a region in Syria, just here, as you can see on a map, just east of Damascus, which is next to Lebanon. And basically there's a stronghold of rebel forces there. And one of the towns that has got the last remaining rebels in it is being kind of encircled by the Assad forces. And a lot of local reports, are coming out saying they're about to launch a huge operation to get rid of the last remaining rebels there. However, the whole siege of eastern Ghouta has come with immense civilian casualties. Doctors Without Borders have been working in both eastern Ghouta and Afram, which we'll get to a bit later. From their reports, they are reporting heavy casualties. They're working in basements in fear of bombing, and also they're working with kind of second-hand supplies because the medical supplies aren't allowed to get in because, of course, it's under siege, and that's just how a siege works.
I think, certainly ever since we sort of withdrawn our troops and what we were doing there, I think we've seen far less media coverage in the mainstream media in Britain. And could we perhaps be doing more in terms of aid? Could we be doing more?
Well, I think obviously there's a big question about aid and if we can supply more. But the only thing is, of course, the two most affected regions are under siege, which means medical supplies, even food supplies and water aren't being allowed in because obviously they want to kind of draw the rebels out in some way, but obviously that is affecting the hundreds of civilians and thousands of civilians that are stuck in these regions of Syria, which is obviously causing massive civilian deaths, which is tragic in a way.
So, Razor, what are the direct repercussions for individuals actually living in these areas?
Well, I think, obviously it's very difficult because they're trying to get out of this situation. It's not something they asked for. They're under attack. They don't know how to get out because they either have to side with the rebels, if they want to fight against the Assad regime, or if they want to,
So a lot of civilians sort of almost being felt as though they're stuck in the middle.
Exactly. So they don't really have a choice. I mean, a lot of them, I think, they don't really think about these things. All they want to do is survive the next day because it's not a very easy situation where if you pick one side, you get protected. The likelihood is that they're stuck between these forces and they have nothing to do, which is how so many children and women have lost their lives. And it's just, it's ridiculous. This is the 7-year anniversary of the Syrian war. It's a 6-year anniversary since the UN have started peace talks, and they're still fighting. It's a war-torn country. It's going to take years for the people to heal and to try and build up this nation again to what it used to be. So it's difficult to say, what kind of... you can only just imagine what the people of Syria...
So this is sort of an impossible question to answer, but where do you foresee the next sort of 12 months going for these particular areas within Syria?
Well, I think it's really difficult. If we look at Afran, at the top of the country, I don't know if we've got a graphic for that, just up there, it is along the border of the Turkish border. And basically, Turkey have taken a real heavy-handed approach to having kind of rebels and militants on their border. They're actually trying to set up a 30-mile perimeter on that border to ensure that Turkish sovereignty is protected. Obviously, that's probably quite nice if you're a Turkish civilian, but that does mean, again, uprooting, displacing, alienating, and at the end of the day, killing innocent Syrian civilians. So, that situation doesn't really have a clear endpoint, and neither does eastern Ghouta. The only thing that can really happen is mass investment into the area. That is the only way the Syrians will be able to recover. There's been devastation. Eastern Ghouta has had more than 6 weeks of bombardment from the Russian bombings. So, cities have literally been flattened, families have literally been broken up or completely wiped out. So there's no easy fix. There's no short, quick fix. It needs a lot of money, a lot of investment, and it needs really the international community to take it seriously again.
I really think that a ceasefire needs to be called because the amount of people that are
being killed. What is the likelihood of that happening?
I think it's very unlikely.
Should we be interfering?
Once you see millions of innocent people dying, or thousands of innocent people dying, I don't think you have a choice but to intervene.
Do you think number 10 should be taking a more active role?
Yeah, in a responsible way. I mean, we have seen mess up or situations where we've kind of made the situation worse, like in Iraq and Afghanistan. So I think we do really need to be careful about how we approach that. I think maybe some more local experts, things like that, may help, but it's just massive investments needed.
But I also think we need to put pressure on the UN to kind of come to a decision, because you know, this is like a 6-year negotiation that they've been trying to get by, and it's and part of the reason that it's not working is because groups are left out of these negotiations, such as the Syrian Kurdish groups, which form a large part of the rebel movement, and the Islamists. So, you know, not including everybody within this peace negotiation treaty is not going to work, because obviously you're going to get people who will push back.
Everyone needs to be at the table.
Everybody needs to be at the table. Everybody needs to have a voice, and I think that's the only way any serious.
I think the sad reality of this is it doesn't go away overnight.
No, definitely. This is going to take a really, really long time. And the saddest thing is that the people who are suffering, who are, you know, they're appealing to people worldwide, you know, whenever they can. Doctors Without Borders, the White Helmets, always on Twitter or Instagram, whenever they get any kind of network, and they appealing to people to try and, you know, even donate a little bit, even to just to send medical supplies. But like Luke said, it's not even reaching them, and you know, they literally just need the basics, and it's just really sad to see that this has been going on for so long, and it's taken us this long to try and come to a decision.
It's definitely something that we will follow for a very long time. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this week's special iCov political show. Thank you also to all the lovely co-hosts that have joined me today in the studio. To follow more stories, make sure you check out www.icov.co.uk and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook, said Twitter twice there, by simply searching iCov. We're exactly 1 year to go now until we're officially out of the EU. It's time to enjoy those last few European treats. Grab your croissants, your Belgian waffles, and say goodbye to not only iCov, but our beloved European Union. Oh, how we will miss cheap holidays to Benidorm and Magaluf, sinking £2 cocktails. The bold and burnt overweight British man on the beaches of our continental friends may soon be just a thing of the past. Goodbye, Europe, and goodbye, iCov.
I almost
Sure,
shook
I
it.
lost it. Yeah. Bloody hell.
The video is like...